Hi, and welcome to this episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri and Balnarring people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the lands and airwaves where this conversation took place. Land which was never ceded, land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and to any First Nations people listening today. Simon Cassar has always been immersed in food, working in hospo from a young age and then as an editor at Urban List where he wrote about Melbourne's dining scene. Now he's the owner of his own pizza shop. His journey from writer to pizza maker wasn't immediate. He spent time working at Dock in Mornington, running pop-ups in Sorrento, Flinders and over summer at Quealy Wines in Balnarring and obsessively refining his dough. Inspired by a hybrid pizza style he encountered in New York and London, Simon aims to strike a balance between Neapolitan tradition and the crisp, structured slices of New York. Now that he's honed his craft, he's taking the plunge with bricks-and-mortar space where he'll help keep things simple. A tight menu, top quality local ingredients, and a deep commitment to making great pizza.
Hello?
Hi Simon, it's Jo here. How are you?
I'm good, Jo. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Look, thanks for your time because, I know you said you were busy, but I've just realised how busy you are because you're actually opening a real bricks and mortar shop. So
I couldn't remember if we discussed this or not. So
no, that is so exciting.
I've been in such a, I've been in a big wormhole of that at the moment. So I didn't know, I don't know, it's hard to tell who knows and who doesn't.
Yeah, well, congratulations. Way to go, taking an idea all the way.
I know. Well, I think you're just going to have a crack, don't you? You should give it a...
Yeah, absolutely. So, Simon, I guess it'd be nice to get the story behind what you're doing. I met you when I went out to Quealy Wines and you were doing your pop-up there, and what a good that was such a good time. And great vibe, and everyone was just loving it, having the pizzas and the wine and so on.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Definitely good energy out there.
Yeah. So you worked as an editor for Urban List, and so you're more on the other side of things. How did you transition from that role into slinging pizzas?
Look, that's an interesting question. I think it's something that just built up time after time of interviewing people. It's probably similar to yourself. When you speak to people that were kind of on this journey and there's so much passion and there's so much excitement. I don't know, I kind of fed off that a little bit. And I remember speaking to people and they'd be I remember specifically, it was actually a pizza place in Reservoir and I was chatting to them and they were there were 3 tradies and they were just done doing tradie work and they were we just got into it. And they just they went straight in. They went straight with the brick and mortar. I was a little bit more tentative and I just I love cooking and I love food. And I think the way that the kind of media landscape was, I wasn't getting to do as much of the kind of obsessive food stuff anymore. So I just always wanted to be closer to it. And I just wanted to learn more mostly. I've always been weekend cooker, even during the week, friends over, stuff like that, mostly anyone that's interested in food, dining out, getting ideas. I just really wanted to upskill. And I think this was an idea that I really, really wanted to develop, but I think I was kind of scared to take the plunge. And then my partner, my wife, Isabella, she was basically you just got to go work in kitchens. So I was actually working as a digital brand manager for a luxury hotel down on the Mornington Peninsula. And then I would finish work and I'd go and work at Dock in Mornington.
Wow, okay.
So it was a bit of a time. So I was doing a lot of hours, but it's one of the things I've realised, since doing it, is when you're doing it and you want to do it, it's so different, you're so excited. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And I think that was writing for a long time, you go to these things and you get to write about them and you're I can't believe I get to do this. And, you're so into it. But I get very obsessed with things and not always fall out of love with them necessarily, but we'll always kind of be trying to look towards new things. So, cooking and food became the thing, and then it was kind of I knew what the end goal was because I knew I wanted to open a pizza shop. So everything was kind of just this will help for this will help for that. Doc obviously was incredible. I can't believe I just basically emailed them and I went and spoke to them and they were so lovely. I think they could see how passionate I was and it was me just in the middle of like four Italians just slinging pizzas through summer, which was very interesting. But it was really good because you get the reps in, and nothing gets busy like Doc Mornington in summer. So there's a lot of pizzas going out.
And how did you distill from that experience the kind of pizza that you wanted to make?
That's another good. I think I was really influenced. Like, it's really funny. I feel like a lot of people lately, like, there's a big kind of new movement in pizza. I did a piece for it for Broadsheet last year, and it was all about how like there's this kind of more hybrid style coming in. Like, yes, you've got traditional like Neapolitan pizza, like your Docs, your Gratis. But then you've got like, your New York style slices. So, Sunnyside and Mentone, Pizza Electrica in Thornbury. And then there's this kind of in between that's happening. Pizza Electrica is kind of like a little bit in between, but they sometimes do like straight New York slices or pizzas. It's actually influenced from places around the world. I traveled to, did like a big 3-month honeymoon with my wife when we went to New York. And there's 2 places there. One's called Lindustry in Brooklyn, and the other one's called Lucia. They've got like a couple of different stores, but it's just eating it. And I was like, this is it. This is what I wanted to make. I knew that I wanted to make pizza, but I was making it, and I think I was chasing that kind of Doc style, and I was kind of like, it's not really what I liked. Doc is beautiful pizza, but it was funny. A lot of the times when they'd be like, it'd be too, not burnt necessarily, but, well done is what they call it, which is how I like my pizza. They would be like, we can't do that. Yeah, no, I'd always be like, this is the best. It's crispy. It's like beautifully coloured. And that was, to me, was always like what I was chasing, and a little bit more structure. And it wasn't until I was in New York that I kind of got that from these kind of like new places. And then there's a lot of places in London that, there's kind of been this movement towards London style pizza. So Gracie's, Vincenzo's, Crisp W6, like all these kind of new styles basically that are a bit of an amalgamation of the two, schools of thought. It's like, it's got the look of the Neapolitan pizza, you've got your leavening, but it's got the structure of a New York slice. And that's kind of like what I didn't know that's what I was chasing till I kind of ate it. And then ever since, it's kind of just been like what I'm aiming to do. I think every day is different though. Like, dough's so different. So sometimes like it'll be puffier than I would like, but you just got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, is that something? Is consistency a challenge? And do you keep notes about what might affect the dough? Is it outside temperature? Is it ingredients? Is it like what changes the dough?
I think so much. To me, I'm you're only scratching the surface. You talk to so many people, and they're so pedantic, and like rightfully so, about how their dough program works. Because it was a pop-up, there's so many moving parts that make it so difficult to get the consistency with the dough. It's being made in the prep kitchen, as well as Quealy, I was doing private events as well. So I'd be prepping in a food truck. There's just a lot of moving parts. So for me, temperature was definitely the biggest one, especially doing it through summer in an outdoor service area. So, there's days where it would be like 35. So, and I'd have to, I wouldn't have time to keep running back and forward to the truck every time to grab dough. So I would literally get a dough tray and fill it with ice and then stack the dough on top of that. So I had my little like portable freezing operation to kind of like mitigate the dough overproofing while it was out there. But look, there are definitely days where, the temperature, I think, has the biggest impact on it. And then I think it's just like, for me, it was like, I was just writing down notes all the time. Like, I still have the diary, and I kind of like go over. I'll be like, I'll say what the temperature was, what was happening. Sorry, my dog's just getting a bit bored in the background. That was really the biggest one for me. It was just the logistics of like fridge space and temperature. I'm hoping with the shop it's a lot easier, but I think somewhere in general, like from what I've read from people who've told me in other spaces, like summer and like hot temperatures just run amok with pizza. Like, you have, I think before I started making pizza, I was reading so much, and like, it's so funny how, I guess like safeguarded making pizza is, and then you go to the reality of it. Like, so when I started, it was like, you know, it needs to be this, it needs to be refrigerated for like X amount of time. It has to be brought out of the refrigerator 5 to 6 hours before before you want to make it, you know what I mean? And, you know, then I'm, you know, cut feed, I'm working at dock, like it's like 35 degrees and you can't have the dough out because it'll prove too hard. So you're literally grabbing dough straight out of the fridge. And if it's good dough, it'll still stretch. Like, that's the thing. It's not, you know, it's definitely not ideal, but it's not like as, you know, as, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of like protective as it needs to be. You know, it's not as brittle, like dough, once it's proof to a specific, like, you know, so you got it where you want it, it can do what you need to do, and you don't have to be so like protective of it. And that was like the biggest challenge definitely with Quealy and pop-ups and private events is like, getting all those things kind of like nailed, because even the temperature, like I'd put it in our little Moonmobile, the van, and that's a 2001 Toyota Hiace, so the aircon isn't necessarily amazing. So even driving 20 minutes on the peninsula, it's probably like 38 degrees in there, and I'd noticed like a big change as soon as I got to the venue to set up. And I'm learning, like I'm still so green at this. I think that's like the biggest thing as well. Like every day, every week making dough, like it was just, it's a journey. Like I don't think even people who've been making it for years say that like they still haven't perfected it and things are different. You're kind of chasing one batch that, you know, you do the recipe the exact same and it just won't be the same. So it's a tough one to wrangle.
Yeah. And then in terms of toppings, so you had 4 pizzas. It was sort of a less is more approach. Was that more of a logistic thing, or was that a
Sorry, say that again.
Was that the less is more approach? Is that a philosophical approach or more of a logistical approach?
I think it's just a laziness, to be honest. Honestly, it was just the space. Like I was working out of a food truck, and you know, very limited on fridge space. And it's just me. Like I would bring in people for service in terms of like, you know, ordering and running food, but in terms of prep, it was just me. So I was really just trying to make my life manageable. And just with the space that we had, like you can't have like, you know, that much mizz set up or that much food ingredients set up because it just becomes a bit wild. So I was just kind of like, I think the space lends itself to being a bit more casual and a bit more minimalist.
Yeah.
But honestly, like even opening the shop, like I really only want to do like 8 pizzas and then maybe like 2 rotating specials, because I just think that like, I don't know, it's probably like the worst business model, but I kind of just go off like things that I love and, you know, things that places I've been to that I think like are doing things right. And when you've got 25 pizzas on the menu, it's just like a bit exhaustive. Like, yes, you've got all that prep and you end up just repeating ingredients, and that's not something I really wanted to do.
Okay, yeah.
Not that like, I don't know, it's nothing like a fine dining thing or anything like that. Like it has to, can't repeat ingredients, but it just I just kind of wanted to make something that was like, it was simple. It's got all the classics and everything you kind of like really need. And if there is like the demand for more, like we'll bring in more, but just to start things off, it's basically because I'm just on this journey and learning as I go. So I'm really just trying not to bury myself with, control what I can control and just kind of like bite up as much as I can chew.
Look, I have to say, as a diner, I much prefer a smaller selection. I'm not, much as I'm a foodie and I like to try different things, once I'm faced with choice, I would much rather there were fewer options. But,
that's another massive thing. It's like you're just daunted.
That's right.
You stare at the menu for ages, so...
And I really love that you're using local ingredients, and by local, do you mean from the peninsula?
As much as I can use from the peninsula, I do. Like all my wholesalers are down here, and a lot of their stuff is from the peninsula. And then wherever like items that I can source that are from the peninsula, like the honey's 100%. It's the Peninsula Pure honey, which is out in Muradoc, I believe.
Yep.
It's definitely something I'm trying to do. Like I think, you know, especially working in like the kind of journalism editing side of the world, like that is such a big component. So many places do try and do that, but I did see how it kind of like handicaps them a lot of the time. So it's the same even with the shop. Like I want to want to make sure I have like Peninsula wine for sure, because, I live down here. I want to plus the wine's like incredible, but I don't want to kind of like restrict myself and like people coming in. So, because Peninsula classically is, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, the odd Pinot Gris, but yeah, everyone has like a different taste. I want to be able to have like a selection. So always making sure that Peninsula is top of mind, but not just being like hard and fast about that and just being like, oh no, we can't have anything else. So yeah, where I can, definitely. And it's funny, like I'm just trying to discover, like I'm just discovering different producers and makers down here. So it's just to say that I don't have one for a specific pizza now doesn't mean down the road I won't. Like apparently there's someone that grows mushrooms like just up the hill from me in Macrae, so
amazing.
That could be on the cards very soon.
Yeah. I wanted just to go back to the toppings. I just that green pizza with the garlic cream, zucchini, jalapeno, basil, and pistachio. And we actually had it with I think the stracciatella as well.
Yeah,
that was
it's a vegan pizza, but
so delicious. I've never had anything like that. I just thought that flavour combination was so fantastic. Is that your own combination? Were you inspired by something else? Because that was excellent.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love that pizza. I feel like you feel like good after it. You don't feel like too much of a bin because it's like so so light and like zesty. I can't take all the credit for it at all though, because to be honest, I was at Quealy one day with a girl working with me, Izzy, and she's vegan, and we're kind of just like, every time that she was working with me previously, just because I didn't have like the ingredients for it, she was eating like marinara, like, tomato, garlic, which she was fine with, but I was just like, no, like, I want to do this. I want to try and figure out a way to kind of like, we can work on something. And I don't even really remember how. Like, I didn't think I think we used like confit garlic at the start, and then just like zucchini and basil. And then I think we kind of talked about like bulking it up a bit more, like making a bit like of a cream or something. I think she was talking about like a vegan stracciatella, but I kind of like interpret it as like because I used to make this like kind of cashew cream, garlic cream for vegetables, and I was like, oh, that might work. And it kind of just like went on, and then I don't even really know exactly where each component came from, but it wasn't until one day when we were just eating it, and then I put stracciatella on it, and I was like, oh my god, like what doesn't get better with stracciatella? Like that's a good question, but that one specifically, like I was like, oh, this is so good. So very indebted to Izzy for that one, because it kind of forced me to kind of like think outside of the box. And it's cool because like I love that pizza. Other non-vegan people love that pizza as well.
Yeah.
I think that's like so good because it's so simple just to not have stracciatella with it, and then there you go, like it's 100% plant-based. But if you do feel like cheese, then it's also a really good pizza. So that one is like it's such a keeper for me, and I think it's gorgeous looking as well. I know that's like it's my own pizza, so big flex, but I just think it looks beautiful.
Oh, everything about it. It was great. It was that's definitely a big favourite pizza that I've ever had.
Oh, thank you. Stop it.
And how'd you go? I'm sort of intrigued. You've reinvented yourself as a producer or a cook or a chef, might we say?
Not a chef, not a chef. Big disclaimer on this episode: it needs to be not. Conversations not with the chef.
No. As a producer, how did you approach someone like Quealy, and how do people accept you when you are a newcomer to the industry? Is really my question.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting one because I worked hospo for a very long time before, from 15 to 24 maybe. I worked hospo like flat out. So I had pretty good connections, and I moved down here when I was 21 or 22 initially. And so I've worked for people down here and just honestly been really lucky with opportunities. So a couple of the team I worked at, it's closed now, they've moved to Mount Eliza, but there's a restaurant called John Maria in Flinders. Now they run Bao Bao in Mount Eliza. They also own Patsy's in the city and Bistro Alba in Sorrento. So it's Clinton, Matt, and James, and I've known Clinton and worked for Clinton like for years, and them out as well, and they've just been so lovely to me. Like they gave me so much like knowledge. Like they let me in the kitchen working under Dan at Donna, which was like an amazing experience. And then they gave me the space in Flinders to work out of when they vacated because they still had some months left on the lease.
Yeah.
So it's honestly stuff like that. It's just like community stuff. Also, like, you know, being in the food world and like writing about food, I've like spoken to so many people and like met so many people, and so many people are just like willing to help as well. Sorry, my like robo vacuum is just going crazy. 2 seconds. So many of them were just like, anytime, you know, you ask a question or, you know, you put something on Instagram, people would kind of like get back to me or like say like, congratulations, like let me know if you need any like help or want to like talk or anything. So I was just so lucky. Like, yeah, there's so many people, like, yeah, Matt and Clinton, you know, Ali from Sunnyside Slice, like JP from Pizzeria Magma. Like, I went in there and just like talked his ear off for like 2 nights. Like, there's honestly so many people. So it's kind of like like it takes a village type of situation. And I think just my past life just opened so many connections to the world. Like, it's not, you think it's like, you know, it's not a very big place, big community. Like, obviously, yes, it is, but, you know, like everyone kind of knows each other. And especially like Instagram, like it helps so much because everyone can connect and, you know, people put you onto other people, and that's kind of like the way that I kind of weaved myself in. And then a friend of mine was opening a restaurant in Mornington, so I got the opportunity to work under him, Mr. Vincenzo's, and he's an incredible chef. He is, he's just like an absolute weapon of a chef, and just like kind of got me to a level that I didn't think I could kind of be at. And then when you go from that to doing pizza, it seems a lot easier because, you know, there's so many moving parts in the kitchen and it's so intense. So when you go from that to like making pizzas, it's a very like easy transition, and it kind of puts perspective into, you know, like obviously pizza's still very hard, but it kind of got me to like a match fitness where I was very comfortable like making pizza at a fast rate and kind of being under pressure.
That's great, because I think it's as much about that too, isn't it, as managing your time and learning that, because it's all well and good, as you say, cooking for friends at home, but getting up to that level where you're putting them out quickly and then coping with the stress of that, that's a whole other thing. So, yeah.
I'm still paranoid about that. Like, I hope, like, you know, obviously people have to wait because the situation at Quealy was like we had 3 uni ovens, so it was definitely a very like minimal setup. Definitely not ideal for the amount of volume coming through, but everyone was really cool about that, I think, as well. Like, no one really got bent out of shape that way, because, you know, it's a beautiful place. You're drinking wine, and then the pizza con is like just an added bonus.
That's
I think if it was like the focus, which the shop will be, so that's going to have to be like where things dial up. But yeah, for Quealy, it definitely kind of like smoothed the edges and made things a lot more accommodating. And also them, like Quealy, like that came about, sorry, I realised I didn't answer that question. That came about because Celia, Kathleen Quealy's daughter, is the head of marketing for Lucas. So we had some, you know, I've dined with Celia like a few times, and she's just a lovely human being. And Matt and Clinton have used Quealy Wine in their restaurants for so many years, so they knew Kathleen, and they were like, oh, you should go to Quealy for summer. And I was like, well, look, I've got like 2 connections here, so let's try and like work this out. So I messaged Celia. She came and got pizza at Flinders one night for the family. I think she got like 6 or 7 pizzas. And then the next morning, Kathleen came down and she had laryngitis or something, so she couldn't speak properly, but we kind of like hashed out our plan for the summer. And honestly, like they gave me such a platform. Like, it's such an amazing winery, and they helped me out so much. Like, they got like a food truck, we got fully set up. They were just above and beyond, like set up that entire. So normally that like backspace is completely full of like winemaking tools, machines, and everything, and they cleared it out and had tables so that everyone could come in and sit, and it was just an incredible place. Like I owe a lot to them as well. So it's just the community kind of thing. It sounds corny, but especially on the peninsula, because it's even smaller, everyone's even more connected, I think. So, and everyone just kind of like wants good stuff. So everyone's just kind of like I guess like motivated to give you a hand and to, new things are exciting. And I think people really enjoy kind of like giving advice and helping people out down here, which is like incredible for people like me.
Yeah, I love that. It's great to hear. It's, that's what you want, is a community of like-minded people who work together. It's excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
Just as a final question, I don't know if I've worded this correctly, but see if you understand what I'm asking. But
Okay.
what would your past? No, that's not true. What would your current food producing self tell your former food writing self? So with the knowledge that you now have on this other side, what would you tell your former self?
I don't know if you want me to like speak to former Simone in his editing role, but like that's probably like one of the funniest things I've noticed, like having worked in food now, is how little I knew. So yeah, not that like, I was never doing reviews, like I was covering what was opening and, a bit like, kind of talking about food, not critiquing it. But I think I would, definitely there was a knowledge gap there, even though it was always like super into food and knew a lot about food. It's so different as soon as you step to that other side, and you learn so much about like just the most basic stuff. Even just like, to be honest, like the thing that shocked me the most, and shouldn't be a shock, is just how much time goes in to prepping and like how hard chefs and people in hospitality work. Like, you kind of forget, but yeah, chefing is an insane job. Like, I wasn't ever a chef, I was a cook. Like, I would just come in and, kind of do what I could. I was never at the top tier or anything like that, but, you're working like 12-hour days, like you hardly get a break. Like the intensity of it is just so relentless. Like, you're always racing against the clock. And I think that was like a really interesting thing, was going against the clock and said, some days, look at the clock and be like, oh, it's 3 o'clock, like when's 5 o'clock going to swing by? Whereas like when I was in kitchens or working in restaurants, it was like, oh my God, it is 5:35. I have 20 minutes and I have to be like fully set up and ready for war. And that was like, just like such a different perspective, and not knowing that that's what people do every single day. Yeah. And the amount of like skill and the amount of like, hard work that goes into it. From being a writer, you write about a place, like, hey, they're doing this, and this, and like, yeah, it's cool, it's simple, it's fun. It's like, yeah, but it probably takes ages. Like, do you know what I mean? That's probably like the biggest thing that I would have said to. I know, like, I did try to dive in there, but you can only go so far till you like have to get those pieces done and published. Is quite niche, because it's quite niche reading material. So
absolutely, that's right.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah. Well, look, Simon, thank you so much. So nice to talk to you, and all the best for the opening of the store. So when do you think you might open?
So I'm trying to like soft open for takeaway, because we're still waiting on the transfer of the liquor license. So I think like ideally in about a month, and then end of March or early April, like fully open. So, but it's just, that's another thing. People that open, it's a crazy amount of stuff going on. Yeah. Like, it's mostly admin, which is even more boring. But, there's just like, there's a lot of moving parts, but it's really exciting. And like, I'm so happy because it's in Macrae as well. It's like always where I wanted to be. So perfect. Well, all the best, and thank you so much. No worries, Joe. Thanks so much for having me on this. And please pop down when we're open. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. All right, done. All right, I'll chat to you soon, Joe. Okay, take care. Thank you. Bye. See you. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Simon Cassar at Pizza Luna in Macrae. You can follow Simon's Pizza Adventures on Instagram at pizzaluna_. So that's PIZZALUNA_. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read the chat and become a subscriber at www.conversationwithachef.com, and of course you can follow me on Apple and Spotify. I'd absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats, because that's still the best way to get the stories out there. Once again, thanks for listening, have a great day, and bon appetit.